Okay, so I think we are streaming. Hey, I think that is. Cool. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Just going to make sure everything is going good. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm going to start off today. I'm just going to have a quick look through some of the comments just to see who we've got, who's about, etc., etc. All right, then. So we have got Scott C. from San Francisco Bay Area, Mike from New Orleans, Susan from Flagstaff. I keep going through all these. Might be a while. So you've got New Zealand, amazing, Indiana, more from Longstaff, Sweden, Mansfield, Norfolk, north of hello from north of Tuscan. Cool, we've got a lot of people here. Wicked, cool. All right, guys. So in today's beginner live club, we are going to be looking at the famous Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. Now, before we start, I just want you all, if possible, to make sure you've got a copy of this song lesson notes sheet here. And there's another one just underneath, which you'll have some tabs on as well. Looks a bit like that. And there's that. I'm not sure if you're going to have a yellow peg, but if you have, that's cool too. Okay, so Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. So a couple of quick little facts for you first. I thought would be fun to start with. So this song was released in, anyone know? Without Googling it, when was it released, anybody? 1967 it was released. And it only got to number 10 in the charts originally. Somebody's got 1970, 69, good tries. I think there's a little bit of a delay from when I say something and the comments come in. 69 close, 60 something definitely, yeah. So 1967, and it hit number 10 originally. So it didn't do as well as what the song has done since then. Another cool fact, Van Morrison apparently didn't get much money for this song either back then. It all went to the record label. I'm not sure if that's changed over the years, but yeah, he didn't get much. And one other little interesting one was it wasn't even his favorite song on the album. So it was released as the lead single on his debut solo album, Blowing Your Mind, but it wasn't his favorite on it. And he's a little bit annoyed these days, apparently, at having to play it so often. So, okay, so somebody's asking in the comments if there should be some tab. No, you don't need tab. What you do need, though, is this here. So if you signed up and registered for the club, you would have got an email with this song lesson notes sheet. And in this sheet here, we'll be writing out the tab for certain sections, okay? Okay, cool. So let's make a little start. So we're going to start off with a bit of a song overview. So we're going to be playing, well, the song is played in 4/4 time. Anyone want to give a shout out for what we mean by playing in 4/4 time? What do we mean by playing in 4/4? I know a handful of you already know, but it's always good for those that might be new to the club to understand this as well. So I'm sure the comments will come in a second. But 4/4 time simply means we're going to be playing in canto, in bars of 4, okay? 4 beats per bar. So we're going to be counting as in 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we've got someone saying 4 crotchets in a bar. That's absolutely spot on. We're just going to think of it for now as just four beats in a bar, though, not to complicate it too much, okay? So we're going to be playing in the key of G major. So in the key of G major, we've got a handful of chords. We've got 7 chords in any specific key, okay? So what I'm going to do here, on your Justin Guitar Club's songs lesson notes, I'm just going to make a couple of edits up the top. I'll show you what I'm writing now, okay? We're going to put in time 4/4, just like this, okay? So in future song lesson notes, we're going to have this kind of put in there, but for now we're just going to write it song 4/4, and if you want to, you can write next to it. Basically means 4 beats in a bar. Okay, we're going to put in key. Okay, and we're going to be in the key of G major. We're just going to write that in there, okay? Key of G major. Obviously, all this stuff up here, this is all self-explanatory. You just put your name, date, song title, etc., etc., okay? So once you've got the key there, what we're going to do next, we're going to write out all of the chords in the key of G major, and then we're going to take a little look at what chords the song uses from that specific key, okay? So how many chords in a key? Anyone know? How many chords in a key? Okay, so somebody's actually written in all of the chords as well, which is awesome. Darren, nice. Yep, 7 it is. Okay, guys. So we're just going to write out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across here, just like that. And then we're going to write in the chords. Okay, so chord 1 here is going to be G. So we'll just write a G underneath. Chord 2 is going to be an A minor. So we'll write that. We'll write an A minor, A with a little M next door there. Okay, and then we've got B minor. That's the 3rd chord. Somebody's, yeah, I know. Any way to improve the sound, lots of echo reverb. I know as something I'm trying to work on. This room is really echoey, and we have tried kind of like doing some, you know, adding some kind of software edits and stuff, and noise cancellation, echo cancellation, but it doesn't seem to work. Something I've got to sort out though, all right? So the 4th chord then is going to be a C. The 5th chord is going to be a D. The 6th chord is going to be E minor. And the 7th chord is going to be F sharp diminished, okay? So an F sharp diminished would look like that. We're not going to be using that today, and it's not used that often in popular music. So it's like a little F. It might be, you could call it a hashtag, and a little circle there. All right then, so the chords we want in this song, we're going to be using the 1 chord, which is a G. We're going to be using the 4 chord, which is a 5, which is a C. We're going to be using the 5 chord, which is a D. And we're going to be using the 6 chord, which is an E minor. So the 1, 4, 5, and 6 chords, G, C, D, and E minor. They're the chords that we've got throughout this whole song, okay? Now you'll find that the 1, 4, 5, and 6 chords, they're used so much in popular songs. Whether you're playing in the key of G major, whether you're playing in the key of C, whether it's D, you'll find in popular songs, G, C, D, and E minor, 1, 4, 5, and 6, super, super popular. So it's a really good idea to practice your chord changes between these 4 chords here, okay? All right, so next then, let's take a little look at, do we do the song structure next, or do we go through the chords? Let's take a little look at the chords. You can start doing a little bit on the guitar, okay? So now there's a couple of different ways you can play these chords. So we'll go through them, and you can decide which versions you most want to use, okay? So to start off with, we can play Hopefully you can see that there. We can play the standard G chord like this here. Okay, we can play the C, standard C like this. We can play our E minor like this. Or some people might play it a bit more like this with these two fingers. I personally play it like that. And we've also got a D, our standard D, just like that. All right. What we can also do is we can play a G chord like this. So I call it, it's a G5 chord really, but we'll just think of it as a G chord. When we play this one here, the second finger, we'll be playing the G note there, fret 3 on the low E string. Fingers 3 and 4, the third finger will be playing fret 3 on the B, and the pinky will be playing fret 3 on the high E. The second finger here, as well as playing the third fret on the low E string, it's also going to be muting the A string. Just the bottom part of it here, not that part there, that's the part kind of playing the string. This part here just gently touches the A string underneath, so you don't hear it. So you can play that G like that. If you want to, you can also add this here instead. Curl the second finger a bit more. Add that first finger, fret 2 on the A. So you get, that's fine too. And then if you play the G chord like this, it just means that you can go down to a C add 9 chord like this, which is quite nice. So we can go from the G. And when we go to the C add 9, the second finger here just comes down 1 string to the 3rd fret, and then the first finger comes down here on fret 2 on the D string. So 3rd fret on the A for second finger. So it's kind of like a mini G. If you were playing the G like this, it's like a mini G. They both come down like that. Okay, so you can play that there. Pardon me. And then E minor, you generally still play it like this. You could, although it might sound a little bit oasisy, G, C add 9, you can play it possibly like this, which is a bit fiddly, or even like this. Not too sure about that, but you can try it, okay? So you'd have the G like this, the C add 9 like this, and then if you wanted to, you can play the E minor. You can just take the second finger off here, and you can bring the first finger just up to there. Make sure the low E string is ringing out open. Give that a strum. Sounds a bit like that. The first finger, you can either curl it up to get the D string ringing out, or you can kind of flatten it so this doesn't ring out. Doesn't sound quite right, but if you're using these two fingers down here for the G and the C add 9, sometimes it just makes it a little bit easier. And then from there, if you want to, we can just go down to a D sus4 here. Again, just very, very straightforward, simple version, where the first finger from the E minor there comes down just to fret 2 on the G string there. But it does sound better if you just had the full D like that. So it's up to you which version you want to go for there. And then finally, we can play the G like this using what we call the folk G. It's a bit fiddlier, this one though. So this one, the third finger now, will be coming up onto the low E string, 3rd fret. The bottom part of the finger here will be muting the A string. And then the pinky here will be playing fret number 3 on the high E string. Now, if you're new to this one, I'm just going to have a quick drink a second. So if you're new to this one here, you might find the fingers 3 and 4 quite difficult to kind of open up like this. You might not have that kind of finger independence there just for a minute. Now, if you are someone who has trouble getting these two fingers to split, then you can try this simple exercise. Just place the 3rd finger on the low E string there, grip it down, and then with this pinky here, just see how much you can stretch it down. Now, at first, you might find that you can only go a bit like that. And that's fine. Bring it back up, stretch down again as far as you can, hold it, then back up. Whatever you do, don't overstretch, don't hurt yourself. Just take it to a stage where it feels like you're stretching, but it's not too uncomfortable. You can just bring that down. And after a couple of days, I usually find with my students, they can get right down. They can't always kind of open it up like this, but we can go from here and we can just stretch it right down. Likewise, we can put the pinky here on the high E string, fret 3, and we can just go the opposite way. We can just see how high we can take the third finger. And again, you might just find you can only go like a string up or 2 strings up. And if that's you, then just go as far as you comfortably can. Stretch it like you're doing yoga, hold it, and bring it back. Then each time, just try and get a little bit higher. Take it up, hold, down. Take it up, hold. You might find, you're nearly up onto that A string, down. And then eventually after a few days, hopefully you'll be able to kind of get it all the way to the top. And even when you get it to the top there, right, what I'd advise you to do, see if you can go a little bit higher again. So see if you can go like above that E string. Because if you can go above it, then getting to it will feel much easier. Same way here. See if you can go below that E string. Once you can get it at first, you might just be going like 1 or 2 strings and back. Okay. Pardon me. So if you play the G like this, it just makes playing this C chord here way easier, right? Because there's the G. Now, if you look at the third finger, the second finger and the first fingers, they're kind of already looking a little bit like a C chord. All I got to do then is go like that. And then from here, this C chord here, you can see that this finger here and this one is already kind of looking a little bit like the folk G chord, the finger 3 and 4 G chord, right? So it makes this C to this G change more comfortable than if you were going, say, from here. It's a bigger change. Still cool to do it this way and still good to learn it this way, but also good to learn it this way, I think. And just know that every time you do something challenging with the fingers, it's going to take time and it's going to take repetition because it's a physical exercise at the end of the day. But if you consistently stay with it, your hand and your fingers will make the appropriate changes so that you'll be able to do this stuff. But be patient with it and be consistent, okay? So once you've gone here, you could then play the E minor second finger is already anchored there. You could play it like this. You see, I personally just jump to the E minor like this. But I do see some people kind of like anchoring the second finger here, taking this off and this off, like that, and then just placing the first finger there. You could also try that, right? And then from this E minor to, so we've got this G, we've got this C here, we've got this E minor, and then we've got this D. So this is a tricky change, and this is an A change, right? So you're going to be going from an E minor chord there, and all the fingers have got to go up into the air like that. And then you've got to kind of, you can start off just placing finger 1 down, finger 2 and finger 3, building the chord up 1, 2 and 3. You can also build it backwards, which is quite useful sometimes, building it by going 3, 2, 1. So E minor, you can try 3, 2, 1. But eventually you do want to be able to get your hand making the shape of the D like that and then bringing it all down together. Cool little exercise you can try for that. You can start off by playing an E minor like this. And then what you can do is see if you can just make the shape with fingers 1 and 3 and place those 2 down at the same time. Just those 2, and then let this one follow. Okay, so E minor. Make the shapes with fingers 1 and 3. Those 2 down and let this one follow. And if you can get that going for a day or 2, oftentimes the second finger here tends to just follow. A lot of the time I notice on the D chord with beginners, people will often let the third finger here just lag right behind. So it might be like this. We'll go E minor, we'll go like this. The third finger will be right down here, and then they'll bring it up last minute. So the change will look like this. All right, so one thing we don't want to be doing is letting this one lag behind. So 2 exercises, either go third finger by itself, and then maybe try and get fingers 1 and 2 down together. All right, do that one again. Third finger down first, then fingers 1 and 2 together. Or the one we just did prior to that, which was fingers 1 and 3 down at the same time. Let the second finger follow. Okay, I'm just going to have a little drink a second. My voice is getting a bit. Okay, so that's all the chords there, and the various and the different variations. Now, what I want you to do though is I want you to have a think about which of these chords you can already comfortably do, and you can use those. But also have a little think about which chords you can't do, because essentially you want to expand your chord repertoire, right? So rather than just choosing chords that are, staying in your comfort zone, it's cool to do that to play the song, but just to develop your hands further, to see if you can maybe have a think about certain chords that you're not so comfortable with. So then on this sheet here, all right, I'm going to fill out these chord boxes, all right? Now, I'm not sure if all of you know how they work, so I will just quickly demonstrate. So the first thing I'm going to do, right, is just write out the string names. This is for those of you that don't know, okay? The lines going down this way, they're the strings. So we've got a capital E, which means the low E string, A, D, G, B, E. And then the numbers here, which are the spaces. Now, not the lines, the spaces. This is going to be fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, 4, and 5. And the 2 little lines there represent the nut, okay, which is the little white bit just here. Excuse me. Okay, so what we do then, we take a chord such as the G, which I'm going to place. So for now, I'm just going to write G on the top there, okay? And then I'm going to write in the G chord. Now we do that, I'm going to play, this here. 2, 3, 4, X. Okay, so take a little look at this here with me. I'm going to write that out just like that, okay? So this is a number 2. Hopefully it looks like a number 2. This is a 3, and this is a 4. Maybe I should have written it the other way, actually. Hopefully you can see it. I should have probably written it. I've written it like this, like that. I should have written it like that. My bad. Okay, so long as you can see that that's a 2, that's a 3, and that's a 4, that's what counts, okay? This little X here, that means that we don't play that string, so we're going to mute that string. So number 2 represents finger number 2, which is going to be finger 1, 2. That's the finger that goes on that fret there. Then we've got finger 3, which will go on the B string, fret 1, 2, 3. Hope that makes sense. Then we've got finger 4, which is the pinky, and that's going to go on the high E string, the thinnest string, in fret 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I'm going to use that chord there. Then I'm going to go to, we're going to put the C in there, and then I'm going to put it in. I'll write this one a bit better, actually. 1, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to write that in like that. That's my C. Third finger will go on fret 3. I won't put these in now, but it'll go on fret 3 on the A string. second finger fret 2 on the D string, first finger fret 1 on the B, okay? And then we're going to play the D. I'm going to play the D like this. 1, 2, 1. Oops. Try that again. I'll do it here instead. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then the D, ignore this one, I messed that up. It's going to look like that. Oops, wait a minute. Let's get rid of that and get rid of that. So the D looks like that, and I'm going to mute, or I'm not going to hit the low E or the A. If you hit the A string, it's cool. If if you're just getting into the D chord and you hit the E, is cool as well. But just technically speaking, going forward, more medium term, you're going to want to try to not hit those ones so much, especially the low E. So finger 1, fret 2 on the G, finger 3, fret 3 on the B, and actually, no, sorry, finger 1, fret 2 on the G, finger 3, fret 3 on the B, and finger 2, fret 2 on the high E. Now the last one then, E minor, it's going to look like this, 2 and 3. It's going to look like that. That's how I'm going to play it, okay? So when you watch this video, if there's anything in this video you think to yourself, actually I want to try and play the chord like this, just take the video back and then just update the sheet with whichever version that you want to play, okay? So they're the chords there. All right, next up then, guys, let's have a quick look at how we're going to strum this. So I'm sure a bunch of you guys will be familiar with the old Faithful, which is the down, down, up, down, up strumming pattern. Seen like 10 billion guitar songs. Down, down, up, down, up. Okay, so if you're new to strumming, I'm going to recommend that we just start off with a down strum per bar of 4. So we'll just be going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you do this here, strum down on the 1 beat on the 1, and then for the 2, 3, 4, try and keep this hand going without hitting anything. Okay, so you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Then on your sheet, what we can do, if you go down to where it says basic pattern, we can essentially, the most basic pattern that we can do is just hit this number 1 here, but then make sure you keep your hand moving on the 2, 3, and the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then what we can do from there, if that's straightforward, you can then maybe try hitting just the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, with just the down beats, just the down strums, down, 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 and you will do that per chord, okay? Now the this version here, the advanced pattern, I'm just going to put in the old Faithful, which will look like this: down, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. So I know there's going to be a bunch of you that can already do this, right? There's a bunch of you 100% that will already be able to play that there. So for those of you that haven't played it, maybe write it in there. I'll just give you like about 10 seconds or so just to write that in. It's the 1, 2, and 4, and. All right. Once you've got that, we can give that a little practice right now to see if you're getting it. Before we do that, I'm just going to read some messages in the comments just to see if there's anything there that I need to answer. We've got Richard about. The legend that is Richard. Good to see you, buddy. Okay, so it looks like Richard's going to be answering some messages, which is awesome. All right, cool. All right, so this old faithful strumming pattern, for those of you that are new to it, we usually find the tricky part is this number 3 here, because when we're hitting like 1, 2, 3, 4, we're focused on hitting the down strum, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just happens quite naturally. And then our hand as well automatically goes up without hitting the string. Things get a little bit wobbly when we miss out one of those down strums, okay? So what we could do, just to start with, right, you could just practice this basic pattern, strum 1, 2, but then miss this one, and then just hit this 4. So we'll have 1, 2, miss 4. All right, so to play that, to practice that, we've got to make sure we keep the hand moving, okay? So I'm just going to mute the strings here. I'm just going to really gently touch the strings like this. So I get that kind of percussive sound. I quite like doing this because if you're a little bit heavy with this hand, you'll sound like that. And that just means that you're a little bit too tense. So you've really got to lighten this hand up to get that sound. And you often find if this hand is light, this hand is often light too. Or if this one is tight, this one is tight too. So by loosening one of them, left hand here to get the mute, a lot of the time, it promotes more of a nice looser strumming hand here, okay? So we're going to try that 1, 2. Let me get in a little bit better, like this feel. So we're going to try the 1, 2, miss 4. So I'm missing that third beat, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so for the third beat now, I'm going to call out miss rather than calling out 3, okay? So we'll get 1, 2, miss 4. 1, 2, miss 4. 1, 2, miss 4. And try and keep this hand moving like a pendulum in a clock. Nice and even. Don't go like 1, 2, miss 4. 1, 2, miss 4. Try and keep it 1, 2, miss 4. 1, 2, miss 4. Just try and get that going, okay? If you can get that going then, right, we can look back at our little sheet here and we can try, let me just lift this up so you can see it better. We can try now go in maybe a 1, 2 and miss and just a 4. So I think in future I'll get more of these kind of written out on the sheet so I can write these in for you. But we're just going to go 1, 2 and 3. Sorry, 1, 2 and 4. So essentially in practice that is 1, 2 and miss 4. It's the same as what we did before where we went 1, 2, miss 4. But we're just adding that and after 2. So we get 1, 2 and miss 4. 1, 2 and miss 4. You can also kind of think of it as being down, down, up, miss, down, 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 up, miss, down, 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 up, miss, down. Okay? Okay, so what we can do now, then let's just see if we can take a little bit further. Just read in the comments that someone's saying that the up here is not often in there. Yeah, so we can leave that out. I've popped it in there. Maybe I should have left it out, but you will essentially get down, down, up, up, down. So we can leave that out for now. Or if you want to add it in, I think it sounds quite cool if you add it in. So let's give that Old Faithful a little strum to. Hopefully you've got it written down there. Just try to follow along. It's going to be 1, 2, and 4. Okay, so ignore that last and on the end. It just makes it maybe a little bit too fiddly. So it's going to be down, down, up, up, down. All right, so nice light left hand here. And we're going to try with the right hand here, nice and loose. We're just going to try down, down, up, miss, up, down. So it's that missed down, that number 3 that's fiddly, right? Down, down, up, miss, up, down. Okay, down, down, up, miss, up, down. All right, and if you can keep that going, 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. So again, that third, remember it's that third beat. Make sure you come down and you miss. Okay, cool. So that's the strumming that we've got there, guys. We're either going to be strumming on the beat, or we're going to be strumming on the 1, 2, 3, 4. So either on just 1, so you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 if you're completely new to chords and chord changes, or if you've kind of got some chord changes, but your strumming maybe isn't quite ready for the Old Faithful just yet. We can just play the 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Or we can go for the Old Faithful, which is going to be down, down, up, down. If you want to add that and after the 4 in the Old Faithful, it'll sound like this, right? Down, down, up, down, 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 up. Sounds quite cool as well. Okay, so that's probably the next step. Again, after you've got Old Faithful, then maybe think about adding that and after the 4 for a little bit more variety on it. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is start playing the song. So the song starts off with an intro. Let's have a quick little look at how the song is structured. So I'm going to get to write out in the other notes here, but I'm going to get this added to the next PDF, and we're going to go through. On the top here, we're going to write out song structure. Song structure. Okay, I'm just going to write that there, song structure, and then we're going to order it like this. Okay, we start off with an intro. So I'm going to write intro, just like that, and then I'm going to write in the chords. So the chords we've got are these. Every time I write a chord, that means a bar for that chord. Okay, so we're going to have a G followed by a C, a G followed by a D, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to do that times 2. So I'm just going to write down times 2, just like that. Now there is. You got the song structure. Yeah, I've also got the song structure there as well. But the song structure, I think if you write it here, it's going to come right down here. See, by the time we finished it. So I reckon write it here, and I'll just I'll tweak all this on the next song lessons note sheet that you get, all right? So that's the intro there. Now there's a cool little kind of like lead part going on in the intro, and I'm going to show you a beginner version of that towards the end of the lesson. And there's a more complicated version, but it's really not a beginner intro. If you wanted to check that out, though, Justin has a video lesson on this song, and he shows you that intro, and he's got the tab on the top of the screen. So you could check that out, but it isn't beginnery. So I'm not going to add that version. I'm going to add another version, which I think everyone will be able to play. Also, guys, just before we get into the, no, actually, let's do this first. Yeah. Okay. So G, C, G, D times 2. So let's give that a play together. Okay. So 2 times around that. So we're playing in 4/4 time. So I'm going to count to 4. Actually, we know the chord. So I'm just going to see if I can get myself in like that. Yeah. So we've got G, C, G, and D. We're in 4/4 time. So I'm going to strum it through with Old Faithful. Actually, no, I think I'm going to start off with just 1 strum per chord, just for the the complete beginners. All right. So I'm going to count to 4 first, and that's going to actually, let's ask the question: why do we count to 4? Why are we going to count to 4 before before we start a song? Why does a lot of the time the drummer kind of like click 2, 3, 4? Why do they do that? Anyone know? I'm just going to wait to see if somebody knows. I'm sure a bunch of people will know, but I'm also sure that there'll be a bunch that's not quite sure. Tempo, exactly that. So when we count to 4, if we were to count 1, 2, 3, 4, or if we were to play 1, 2, 3, 4. So the speed in which we count tells the band or the group of people and that we're going to be playing at this specific speed, at this specific tempo, right? So that's one reason. What's the other reason? Why else would we count to 4? There's one more reason. Tempo is spot on, but then there's one more. Anyone know? Why else would we count to 4? I'm sure someone will mention it in a second. But the other reason, right, as well as the tempo, it means that all players can start at the exact same time, which is on the 1. So, for example, if we've got a drummer, a bassist, a couple of guitar players, we all want to start the song at right at the same time. To do that, we're not going to go 1, 2, 3, go, which, happens, right? We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we all start on the 1 and we all play at the specific tempo that we count in. So again, with the tempo in mind, we've got to make sure that when we do count in, we're going to be counting in evenly. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, rather than 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got to be kind of even. So Bruce, wish I were here. Yes. So everyone starts at the same time. That's exactly it. So I'm going to give us a count of 4, and then we're all going to come in, okay? So for those of you new to the chord changes, we're just going to strum on beat 1 for the G, beat 1 on the C, beat 1 on the G, beat 1 on the D. For those of you that's a little bit more advanced, try going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And for those of you that want to go in with good old faithful, we can try 1. Try it without the and after 4 to start with. And then if you want to, we can try with that up there, okay? You often find as well that up strum that you hit is kind of like, it acts as a transition strum. Oftentimes we hit those notes whilst our fingers are transitioning to the next chord, which kind of like fills it out a little bit. Okay, so let's try that intro, okay? So times 2 through those chords we've just written down. So start on the G, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 to the C. 1, 2, 3 to the G. 1, 2, 3 to the D. 1, 2, 3 back around. G, 4 and C. 2, 3, 4 and G. 2, 3, 4 and D. 2, 3, 4. Great. This time I'm going to do Old Faithful, so we can all play. Those of you doing that can kind of join in as well. Okay, here we go. Or not join in, but kind of like play along with me doing it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, a bit faster. I'll do that again. Sorry. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. G, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. And D, 2. That's the intro there. So that's basically, believe it or not, by playing that there, you've learned probably maybe 60% of the song. So next up, after that intro, we've then got, grab your pens and paper, we've got verse 1. So we're going to write in verse 1. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to write in the same chords again. This is where the singing starts, and it's exactly the same chords. G, C, G, D. So I'll write those in. G, C, G, D. But this time, times 4. So it's the same thing now. We just do that times 4, okay? So let's give that a go. This time, I'm going to do just the down strums on the 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I'm conscious I've not kind of done that for some of you guys doing that version just yet. All right, so verse 1. So we're going to leave the intro up for a minute. Let's go straight into verse 1 after 4. Might speed it up a tiny bit, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3 to the G. 1, 2, 3 to the D. 1, 2, 3 back to G. 1, 2, 3 and C. 2 and G. And D. This is the third time coming up now. G, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4 and G, 2, 3, 4 and D. One more time. 2, 3 and to the C. G next. 3, 4. D to finish off. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on another. Which we'll get to now. So the next part of the song is going to be, we've got is, where's my good old sheet? Here. The next part is the chorus. So we're going to write chorus in, and to the side of the chorus, next to the chorus, we're going to write C, D, G, E minor. C, D, G, E minor. Okay? So that's just going to look like that there. Okay? And then we've got another 4 chords. Now, when I write the next 4 chords, I don't like to kind of put it like all one next to each other, as in a group of 8 chords, even though it is 8. I'll kind of think of it as in 2 groups of 4. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of a space. And then I'm going to write C, D, G, D. C, D, G, D. All right, so I like to write it like that because I like to remember the chords in groups of 4 rather than it being a big group of 8. So C, D, G, E minor, C, D, G, D. Okay, I'm just going to let you write that down there. Just going to give you like 10, 20 seconds or so. Okay. Cool. So I tell you what, let's give that a go, right? So this time I'm going to go back to just strumming 1 strum per chord. We'll go from the C. And by the way, we just do this times 1. So you can either leave it like that, or you can just write times 1 next to it if you want, all right? So the chorus then starting on the C. Let's have a look. Yeah, on the C. So I'm going to give you a count of 4. Slow it down a little bit for this because it's a little bit new. So I'm going to strum just single strums on the 1 again. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3 to the D. 2, 3 to the G. 1, 2, 3 to E minor. 2, 3 back to C. 3 and D. 1, 2, 3 and G. 2, 3 back to D. 2, 3, 4. So I'll try and keep the beat going here so you can hear it, okay? And I'll try to keep kind of calling out the names of the chords that are coming up, just because if you're like really watching your fingers, it's hard to look at the sheet. So I'll keep trying to call them out, okay? So we'll try that again. This time I'm just going to do down strums on the 1, 2, 3, 4s. Here we go from the C. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. 2, 3 to the D. 2, 3 to the G. 1, 2. E minor next. 2, then to C coming up, C, 2, 3, and we've got D, 1, 2, 3 to the G, 2, and D coming up. Okay, and then with Old Faithful, here we go from the top, starting with the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, C, to D, and to the G, and E minor next, 2, 3 to C, 1, 2, 3 to the D, 1, 2, 3, look, and let's that out to the G, and to the D, 2. So one little kind of lesson here. So I messed the strumming pattern up as I was playing through that, right? But it didn't sound bad, right? It just didn't sound like Old Faithful. If you can keep your hand moving like this all the time, and it doesn't matter if you don't hit, the strumming pattern through a song. In fact, it probably sounds better if you do vary the way you strum a song rather than sticking to the all the way through the song, all the way through the song. You'll get a little bit. And you'll find if you're singing it, it's actually harder, in my opinion, to keep a solid same strumming pattern going all the way through. If you sing it, you often find that your right hand just it does kind of whatever. But as long as you're keeping this moving, you're in time, you're in tempo. So if you do that, don't worry about it. If you mess up the strumming pattern, you keep this moving, it's totally cool. In fact, you're adding variety to your rhythm part. Okay, cool. So that is the chorus, guys. After the chorus, we have then got verse 2. So under that, I'm going to write verse 2. And guess what? It's exactly the same as verse 1. So we've got G, C, G, D times 2. So I've just updated that, and we're now looking like that. Okay. Cool. So we're not going to play through that because we've done it already, right? But then after verse 2, we've got the chorus again. Okay, so I'm going to write chorus here. And guess what? It's the same as the previous chorus, which is C, D, G, E minor, followed by C, D, G, and D. And we just do that times once. Okay, so we're now looking like that, guys. Okay, then after that chorus there, we then got, I'm going to call it a bridge. It's basically 2 bars of D. I'm going to call it a bridge because it just I think it just makes visualizing the whole structure of the song just a little bit easier. And for the bridge, we're going to play 2 bars of D. All right. So sometimes we could have just put 2 Ds here for the chorus, for the second chorus. We could have just written out the normal chorus and put 2 Ds here, but I'm going to put this in as 2 little Ds as a little bridge section there. So again, that's going to be really straightforward, guys. We've got the D here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And you can strum it any way you want in regards to like the ways that we've gone through, or you can strum it any way you want anyway. All right, so that's the bridge there. And then we've got, it's the part that goes, sha-la-la. I'm going to call that, just to keep it simple, a middle, all right? I'm going to call it the middle, just because it's different to the other sections. And it just keeps it simple. And the middle, right, is just going to be the same chords as what's in the intro and the verses, which is G, C, G, and D. And we are going to be playing that just like the verse, just like the intro times 2. So we've already played through that with the intro and the verse, which is cool. So we're not going to worry about playing that because I want to make sure I've got enough time to go through the intro for you. After that middle there, I'm then going to call this next part bridge 2. It's probably not a bridge, to be honest. But again, I like to see it as just a separate part. We're going to call it bridge 2 there, and I'm just going to put down 4 Gs because that's all it is. It's just 4 Gs here. Now, when you play those 4 Gs there, right, I would personally play those slightly different depending on how you're playing it already. I would play them with just down strums. When you listen to the song, when you get to that section there, you'll hear it just sounds good to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then after that, we have got, there's another section there actually, which I think I've left out, and I think it is the same as the verse, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1. And this part, which I've not put down, my bad, 3, 4. Okay, so after this part, we're going to put down G, C, G, and D. My bad. All right, so part of this middle here, I'm pretty certain after you've played 4 Gs, we're then going to play a G, a C, a G, and a D, which is the same as the verse and the intro, but we're going to be doing it with just down strums, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, we then go back into a verse. So we can call this verse 3. Okay, and this here, verse 3, is the same as the other verses. G, C, G, D times 4. Chorus again after that. Chorus again, which is, I'm just going to write same here, okay, just to save time a second. You can write the chords in if you wanted, though. And then after that chorus, we go back to that bridge 1, which is just 2 Ds. I'll show you the sheet in a second. And then we've got the middle 8 again, and it plays that middle 8, that shalala part until the end, which is kind of like middle. It's an outro, really, but it's kind of like the same as the part before. It's fiddly to call it. So I'm going to put down same there because I want to really quickly show you what you call it. So that's what I've got there all together, guys. All right. So I'm just going to leave that there for about 20 to 30 seconds just to give you all enough time to write it down. I'm going to read some messages as well. So Scott Pierce is saying I need to practice more often. So you want to be practicing at least 5 days a week. I know that's it's obvious, but your hands and your fingers, when you're playing the guitar, if you think about it, if you just take away the music, it's kind of like taking the fingers to a gym, right? And the only way that the fingers will be able to make those changes physically, just like anything you do in a gym or whether you're doing gymnastics or whatever, is to make sure that they're consistently exposed to specific movements every single day. So your fingers will only make certain changes. And as a beginner, one of the most important things is just the development of your hands and your fingers. You've got to do it definitely got to do it 5 days a week, 15 minutes a day. And you'll definitely see improvements. Okay, cool. So let's take a quick look at this intro that I came across. Hey, remembered it. Cool. All right, so let's write out some tab for this first. Now, you guys will have tabs on yours. I printed this out before I got the new one, so I haven't got tabs on mine. So I'm going to quickly just draw in some tab on here, which might be a bit bigger for you to see anyway, right? So I'm going to draw 6 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be our E, B, G, D, A, E. So this is guitar tab, all right, guys? Now, for those of you who don't know, let me use this big marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think the camera was picking up my regular pen. So we'll use this one here. All right, so for those of you that are unfamiliar with how tab works, guitar tab, basically we've got 6 lines. Each of those lines there represent the strings on the guitar. So the capital E here on the bottom is the low E string, the thick one, right? So to some people, it looks upside down. Some people think that the low E here should be up here. Other people think this looks perfectly as it should. But just know that the low E is on the bottom here, okay? Okay, I'm just going to read some messages because some are coming through. It's verse 2 only repeated 2 times. So the verses, verse 2. Okay, let me just thank you for whoever that was there. Verse 2 is 4 times. All right, I've adjusted that there. My bad. It's a typo. Verse 2 is 4 times. Okay, so all the verses are the same. They're always 4 times. The choruses are always the same. They are always just once through. And all the rest looks pretty good there. So you've got the bridge, 2 Ds, got the middle. Yeah, that's all good. So it's just that one, okay? So the verse 2, as with all the verses, is just 4, okay? So now that you've got this tab down here, now that you understand that we've got 6 strings, low E string, high E string, I'm going to put numbers on certain strings, and those numbers are going to represent the the fret numbers. So not like chord boxes where the numbers represent the finger number. On tab, the numbers represent the fret number, okay? So we're going to start off. So this is a little bit kind of sketchy here, but hopefully you can see it and it makes sense. We've got a 0 here on the G to fret 2 on the G, 0 on the B, then we're going to go back to fret 2 on the G and fret 0 on the G. So we read this the same way we'd read words on a page, from left to right, okay? So just make sure you've written that down because I'll show you how to play it then. So I would probably play this part here using finger number 2, okay? So we're going to start off by plucking the open G string here. Then we're going to use finger 2 to play fret number 2 on the G. When you do this, make sure you press right up close behind the metal fret wire. That means you don't have to, if you're quite far back, you've really got to physically press it down. If you get nice and close, there's a lot less pressure needed, okay? So you've got the 0 to fret 2. Then we're going to go and play the fret 0 on the B, which looks like that. So that gives us, okay, 0, 2, and then 0 on the B, followed by 2 on the G, and 0 on the G. Okay, that's the first little line there. Okay. All right, and you can, if you're comfortable with this, if you're new to single note picking, just pick it. Just like that. If you've been picking a while and you want to cut the notes short, add a bit of staccato, then you'd use this kind of part of the hand here. Maybe not a beginner thing, but you can give it a go. If I play the open G here, what I like to do, probably best just play it all down picks just now, but each time I play the note, I'm going to use this part of the thumb here to touch it. So sometimes I'll play things with just an up pick, and then I'll touch it with that part of the thumb just there. Sometimes I'll place the pick on it, but you get that little clicky sound. But this way, with the thumb, you can try that if you want to, right? It's probably a little bit kind of, it's not so much a beginner thing. So that's the first phrase there. Okay, next phrase goes like this. I'll write it down now, but I'll show you it first. Oops, sorry. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so this is, we're going to go down to the B string, and we're going to play 1, 3, 0, 3, 0. Actually, I'm going to change that. That's not right. Ignore that there. Another typo. Sorry, guys. So this is the next phrase. That's a typo. I've crossed it out. Okay. From the B string, we're going to play fret 1 to fret 3. So everybody write this down now, so you've got it. And then you've got 0 on the high E, back to 3 on the B, and then 1 on the B. Okay, so go through that one more time to make sure you've all written it down. Fret 1 on the B, fret 3 on the B, open high E string, so 0 on the high E, back to fret 3 on the B, fret 1 on the B. And I want you to use finger number 1 for fret 1 and finger number 3 for fret 3. So we're going to play that like this, okay? We'll start off finger 1, fret number 1 on the B string here. So try and get right up close here, especially in this fret. If you're far back in this fret, just behind the nut there, it's really hard to get the note to ring out. So even in the middle, it's all right, but if you get right up close, that's great, okay? Somebody's asking, is there a standard way of indicating time in each note on the time? Yeah, there is, but it's a little bit more time consuming to pop it in there. And also I'd probably say about 90% of people wouldn't really, especially in the beginner group, kind of get to grips with it. So I think what you want to do for this specifically is try to use your ears. See if you can like hear how it goes and just replicate what you can hear, okay? So just to go back to this here, we got fret 1 on the B, fret 3 on the B with the third finger there. Okay, so that's a bit of a stretch. Really good one to work. Work on that finger 1 to finger 3 combination though. And work on that. Okay, so finger 1, fret 1, finger 3, fret 3 on the B, followed by the high E string. Then I'm going to go back to 3 on the B, back to 1. Okay, so that was all together. Gone a little bit over the session, guys, as well, so apologies for that. Okay, I'll play that one more time. Finger 1, finger 3, open E, third fret again on the B with finger 3, back to there. So that will be, all right. So all together we've got this, starting with second finger. Okay, and then we repeat the first, this one here again. So I'm going to write that out next door to this one, which will be 0, 2, 0. So that's the same again. Apologies for my really rubbish handwriting. We've got 0, 2, 0, 2, 0. It's essentially the same as that repeated there, okay? Which will then give us all together. I'll play the first one there. We've got, oh, sorry, the first one, sorry, was this. Second one was this. First one again. Okay, and then from here, the fourth one, I'll write that out on again here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. E, B, G, D, A, and E. Okay, this one then is going to be, so this one's going to be 2, 4, 0, 2. Okay, so write that down first there, guys. We've got a 2 on the G, followed by a 4 on the D string, followed by 0 on the G string, and followed by 2 again on the G string, okay? All right. Now, when you play this here, I want you to do a little bit of a position shift. What I mean by that is, you played the first part with second finger here, right? Which teed you up really nicely to get the first finger here for the second part. Which tees you up really nicely, second finger here for the next part again. Now, when you play this part here, I want you to come forward like this, place first finger down on fret 2 now, all right? Because we need to get to this fret 4 on the D string. Now, if we've got our second finger on the first note, it's quite hard to get a pinky up on it, quite hard to get the third finger up on it. So if we place the first finger on it, getting the third finger here becomes way easier. All right. Now this is another stretch here. So first finger, fret 2 on the G, and then try and get that third finger, fret 4 on the D, okay? Now that's going to feel a bit tricky for some of you, I guarantee it. For some of you, it might be easy, but for some of you, it will be really hard. So you can just exercise that. Okay, so we're going to play that number 2, then the 4, and then we're going to take that off to play 0 on the G, and then fret 2 on the G again. Okay, so that would be 2 there, 4 on the D, 0 to 2 on the G. So in time would be, okay. So if I put those 4 sections together, we're going to have section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. Okay, one more time. Okay, guys, and that's the intro there, in a way that's kind of been simplified just for you beginners. It's a really good way of getting the fingers moving individually, which I think is really important for beginners, as well as doing the chords. So like I said, if you find that kind of straightforward though, check out Justin's lesson on this, because he's got a lesson on it, and he shows you the original intro on it. Now, just to finish off, guys, I've got a little offer for everybody. So it's for you beginner club guys, just a quick one, just to let you know that on the Justin Guitar app, there is a 20% off discount, lifetime and for the whole year. If you're interested in looking for the app, if you are, the app essentially is a tool for learning to play songs, and not just learning to play songs, but also kind of, it gives you like these visual representations for when you've got to play a chord. So you can see a chord coming up on the screen. So it's just essentially, it's a really fun way of learning to play songs. It's a fun way, but it also makes it easier because of all the visuals and stuff. One thing that I needed to mention though is that on the app at the moment there's no Brown Eyed Girl, but it still is a really cool tool for developing your song playing and rhythm playing, etc., etc. And as I said, there's 20% off at the moment, lifetime access and yearly access. So give that a little look. Okay, guys. So I think that's pretty much everything there in regards to the song. Maybe I'll just ask. Is there anything that does anyone want anything, me to answer any questions just to finish up with any of the stuff that we've just gone through, just to make sure that, trying to make sure everybody's kind of doing okay with it. So I'll give you like, say, 10 seconds for the comments to come through, and I'll answer some questions if there are any, okay? App is brilliant for play along. Yeah, it is. It's really good. It's really good. It's the visuals as well that make it really good, I think. Jesse Williams, that was so much fun. I'll be joining another one for sure. Wicked, awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Lee. That was great. You're very welcome. Why is this song not on the app? I'm sure it will be super soon. 20% off, but only if you've never bought it before, I believe. I think you shouldn't. Yeah, email into customer services, because I think you'll probably get that off if you have bought it before. But don't quote me on that. But okay, cool, guys. So thanks for the simplified intro. I've been working with double stops. It's much more challenging. It is much more challenging. Okay, so it's a copyright thing in regards to like this song, I think, guys. Cool. All right. So I'm glad that you've all enjoyed the session. Sorry for going over. Got to get my timings a little bit better. Probably my handwriting as well, right? But anyway, thank you all so much for coming along and joining in. It's been a real pleasure. Take care, and I shall see you all again in the next clip. Okay, cheers now. Bye-bye.